In the mist-shrouded valleys of ancient Japan, there lived a young man named Hiroshi. His heart burned with ambition. He dreamed of climbing the sacred Mount Fuji, alone, without supplies, in the dead of winter. For him, this wasn't just a climb. It was a declaration that one man, through sheer will, could bend the impossible to his command. But Hiroshi's life was a series of unfinished projects. He'd trained as a blacksmith but quit when the heat became too much. He turned to poetry, but his words always dissolved into doubt. Now, at 25, he was adrift, weighed down by the echoes of failure. "Why do I have the will of a tiger?" he'd mutter, "but stumble like a leaf in the river?" One evening, he overheard an old monk, Master Kaito, speaking to pilgrims. "To achieve anything," the master said, his voice like a gentle ripple on still water, "one must first surrender to the flow. The river does not fight the stone. It carves it with patience." These words struck Hiroshi. He approached the master, his voice trembling with desperation. "Master, I seek to conquer Mount Fuji, but every path I take crumbles. Teach me the way to bend the world to my desire." Master Kaito smiled. "Walk with me," he said, "and perhaps the mountain will whisper its truths." And so began Hiroshi's apprenticeship, not in strategy or endurance, but in the subtle art of Zen. Every dawn, they practiced seated meditation. "Watch your breath," the master instructed. "Do not grasp it, let it come and go." At first, Hiroshi's mind was a storm of what-ifs, but day by day, the storm quieted. He learned that true power wasn't in forcing the world to yield, but in becoming as unyielding as the bamboo that bends but never breaks. One morning, Master Kaito handed Hiroshi a smooth pebble. "Carry this," he said. "Each time doubt creeps in, hold it. Remember, the mountain is but a collection of such stones. You do not move the mountain, you become one with it." As they walked through the forest, the master posed a riddle. A monk carries a lantern into a dark cave. Does the light conquer the shadows, or do the shadows reveal the light? Hiroshi thought for a moment. "The light reveals," he answered, "for without shadow there is no path to see." "Precisely," Master Kaito replied. "Your obstacles are not enemies. They are the very light that illuminates your strength. Embrace them." Weeks turned into months. They practiced Aikido, not to conquer, but to harmonize, to redirect force. "The wind does not shatter the willow," Kaito explained, "because the willow dances with it." Hiroshi's body, once tense, began to flow like water. He learned to sync his breath with the pulse of the world. One night, Hiroshi asked, "Master, how did you achieve enlightenment?" Kaito's eyes twinkled. "Enlightenment? That is the greatest illusion. I sought it for decades. One day, weary and broken, I sat beneath a pine and wept. 'Why does the universe withhold its secrets?' I cried, and in that moment of surrender, a sparrow landed on my knee and sang a single note. I realized the secret was never hidden. It was in the seeking itself. The sparrow doesn't conquer the sky. It simply spreads its wings and trusts the updraft." In that moment, something shifted inside Hiroshi. He saw his past failures not as chains, but as stepping stones. The fire of the forge had tempered his resolve. The unfinished poems had honed his vision. "To achieve anything," he murmured, "one must first become nothing. Empty the cup to fill it anew." As winter's breath frosted the temple, Master Kaito deemed him ready. "The mountain awaits," he said, handing Hiroshi a walking staff. "But remember the way of Zen. Walk lightly, for the path is made by walking." Hiroshi departed at midnight. As he began to climb, a fierce storm unleashed its fury. Winds howled and snow blinded him. Doubt, that old serpent, coiled in his chest. "Turn back, you are a fool." He paused, his breath ragged, and drew the pebble from his pocket. Its cool surface grounded him. The shadows reveal the light, he whispered. He stopped fighting the gale and began to move with it, leaning into the wind's push, letting it propel him upward. His body flowed. Hours blurred into an eternal now. Pain became a distant echo. Inhale the storm. Exhale the fear. The slope steepened into a sheer wall of ice. His muscles screamed. Visions of his past failures flashed before him. But then he remembered the sparrow's song, the lesson of surrender. Spread your wings. Trust the updraft. He wedged his staff into a crack, hauling himself up, inch by agonizing inch. Each grip was a vow, each breath a prayer. The mountain didn't yield, it tested. And in that testing, Hiroshi found his truth. Achievement wasn't the summit, but the unbreaking spirit that dared the climb. As the sun began to set, he crested the final ridge. There, where heaven kissed earth, stood the summit shrine. He collapsed to his knees, not in a roar of triumph, but in silent gratitude. He had achieved the impossible, not by force, but by becoming the flow itself. Years later, Hiroshi became a teacher himself. To those who came with dreams as vast as oceans, he would share his story. You can achieve anything, he'd say, not by battling the world, but by dancing with it. Empty your mind of doubt, fill your steps with presence, and surrender to the journey. The summit is not a destination. It is the you who rises to meet it. So, what mountain is calling to you? Remember Hiroshi's path. Persistence wrapped in patience. Strength born of surrender. The world bends not to the mighty arm, but to the open heart. Go forth and let your light carve the shadows. Thank you for joining us on this journey today.